marketplace where we bring teachers and students together. So we provide a platform where anyone with a passion to teach can actually come and use our course creation platform to create a course and offer it to our over 16 million students. So our students can come depending on their interests or depending on their goals. They can always find the right course taught by the right teacher. So in 2010 is when we started. In 2013, when I joined the company, we were still only about 30 people, and I inherited 13 engineers who were all from Turkey, and 3 of them actually still living in Turkey, 4 of them actually. So from then on, now we're about 290 employees in San Francisco and Dublin and Ankara. And I have an engineering team of about 90 engineers, and they're spread in San Francisco, Dublin, and Ankara. I think we kept what we felt were really good about our processes. It's agile processes and being nimble and iterating on our product. And over time, we also build the product and design teams, right? Initially, Oktay did all the design, and Aaron was being product manager as well as the CEO. So once I came on board, we started building the product team, and we hired designers. So now we have a product team of about 16 product managers, and we have also same number of designers as well. And we form what we call PDE team, Product Design and Engineering Team. So it's an agile team. We sit together, and each agile team has specific set of goals and metrics, and we iterate through product development very quickly. So we run 2-week sprint cycles, and we do a lot of iteration. We have lots of dashboards and KPIs that we really march toward. Some of the KPIs would be like how many courses are we producing from new instructors this month, or what is the converting our new visitors to students who are taking courses on Udemy. We work together as a team, so there's a lot of iteration that we go through. We also have a user research team. So some of our UX designers do their own research using the methodology that's developed by our user research team. But our user research team get involved in bigger research projects and help us get a lot of information when we're starting on some new product initiatives or iterating on major initiatives. DevOps has always been part of our engineering process. So we invest a lot in release engineering because we do continuous integration and release. Each engineer is in charge of their own release. So once they're done with coding, they actually go through a number of checks and submitting for code reviews. So once they've actually completed their code reviews, respond to all the feedback, and go through all the checks like unit test and integration test and end-to-end test and all that, then they can actually do their own release. So we need to have a very buttoned down process to be able to do 20 to 40 releases a day. And as they're doing it, they need to be also thinking about how will this application work and how will it fail. They need to be thinking about failure modes and make sure that they're creating monitors that it'll monitor when something goes wrong. So those monitors also get reviewed and checked. And our 7x24 operational process involves all those monitors being there, and there's what we call run books being created about what happens when something goes wrong. What do you need to do? So those run books are used by our site reliability engineers to take immediate step when something goes wrong. But we also have process where it can be escalated to engineering to take a look at bigger problems. I think it's actually, there's two sides. I mean, I think engineers have to take enormous responsibility as an engineer to, design, um, develop, and also deploy, and think about how it'll work in production, right? So I think they take on a lot of responsibility and pride as an engineer to really own that end-to-end engineering process. I think that's a reward, but it could also be a burden to some of the engineers who are coming from environments where they have the larger QA support or DevOps support, where releases are being done by a whole other party. But I like it this way. I think it empowers engineers and give them more ownership and sense of all the jobs that they need to be doing completely end to end. I've managed distributed engineering teams before, and I think only way to make it work is the teams feeling like that they have the ownership, that remote teams don't feel like they do dirty work of headquarters or they're doing secondary work of what's being done in the headquarters. So what I try to do is really enable teams in remote locations where they own the whole thing. So for example, in Dublin office, we have UFB engineering team. UFB is Udemy for Business. We believe that people learn at home as well as at work. So UFB is a product that we offer to companies to enable learning within the company. So it's a subscription-based product that companies like Tesla, Booking.com, IBM are all like signing up to offer this learning at work. And that engineering team, which has to provide more of the analytics to the companies on how their folks are learning on Udemy or offering them the courses, suggesting courses and all that, that product is being done here. So we have product managers, designers, and engineers here all working and owning that product. So I like enabling that whole team and ownership of end-to-end development of a product in a remote location. Number one, I think you want to hire people who are passionate about learning and continuing to learn and evolving, and people with humility so that they're always learning, and people who also care about other people learning, right? So building a very collaborative, open, transparent teams. But I also believe everyone needs a very psychologically safe environment to work in and really focus on the work that they're doing. So we don't want a lot of baggage being carried around. So I do care about how people like their job, like their team, and it's not an environment where there's like hostility. So I think as a manager, by providing that, and also hiring managers who foster that environment, I think we can create the environment where engineers do their best work. I actually hire a lot of engineers who are not coming from traditional backgrounds, meaning people with computer science degrees. So we actually have internship program for people who are coming out of like coding boot camps and people who are changing their careers, coming from another discipline to engineering. So I want to just encourage everybody to think that they can. Udemy was started by Aaron Bali and Oktay Chaglar. They're both from Malatya, Turkey. Malatya, Turkey is a pretty remote part of Turkey. And Aaron actually grew up in a very small town where all children were taught in two-room schoolhouse. So for him, the opportunity came when his parents decided to spend all their savings and buy he and his sisters a computer and internet access. So he had a lot of motivation to learn, but did not have access to learning until then. And he did a lot of like exploring on the internet and interacting with people, and he was very interested in math. And he won Math Olympiad Europe, which earned him a scholarship to go to prep school, and then ended up going to Middle East Technical University, which is one of the best universities in Turkey. upon his graduation, he really had this passion to make learning accessible to others. So he tried to start this company in Turkey, in Ankara, but it wasn't exactly an entrepreneurial environment. So he had this idea, I gotta go to Silicon Valley to start this company. So he came to San Francisco, got himself a job to get an H-1B visa, and then he started just doing a lot of networking, trying to raise money for this company. And it took a long time, and he would say 6, 7 investors passed on investing on this company, and he probably did hundreds of pitches. So finally, he got enough seed round funding to start this company in 2010. And I think the idea has evolved, but he always had this idea that the best teachers are not always people who are in the classroom, that we should be able to draw talented instructors from all over the world to make learning accessible to everyone in the world.